Well, hey there. Welcome back to another video. This is basically going to be video 1 in a series that I'm going to call Build Breakdown. I thought it'd be cool to take some time and explain what the rifles are and kind of why they're built the way they are. So what the purpose is and what are the different things that I've put on the rifle. And of course, the ever important question, which is why? Why do it? Which when it comes to guns, do you really need a why? I don't think you need a why, but that's just my personal opinion. Sometimes you just need it because you need it. But the first in this series, I thought I would talk about basically my favorite rifle. I don't know, they're kind of like kids. Who has a favorite? I have a favorite. Spoiler alert. I figured why not talk about this rifle. So this is my self-defense rifle. So it's a 300 Blackout build. And if you're familiar with 300 Blackout, the reason why I went that route is because number one, I wanted something suppressed. I wanted something quiet, which normally you think suppressor means quiet, but it doesn't. It does quiet it down, but I wanted something super quiet, which I'll throw some clips of shooting it so you can understand what I mean. But this rifle is actually quiet enough that I can fire this rifle without having any ear protection on. No ear pro. And not worry about damaging my ears or my hearing. Again, kind of in a self-defense situation, I want to be able to grab it, deploy the weapon, and use it without having to worry about damaging my ears, which again, in like a life-threatening self-defense situation, who cares about your hearing?
We do not care.
If you're dead, it doesn't matter. So still, at the end of the day, you want to set yourself up for success. So that's why this is the way it is. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and move this sling and we'll get that out of the way. That's a part I'll probably talk about here in just a second. So this is the rifle. We'll go ahead and explain kind of the different components. So probably start on this end and move my way back. Yeah, we'll explain kind of why it's built the way that it's built. So this is a 300 Blackout. So this is an AR-15. It actually started out life as an AR-15 pistol. So it had a pistol brace. Reason why, if you're unfamiliar, is the NFA has basically outlined that any rifle with a barrel that is less than 16 inches long is considered a AR pistol and requires a pistol brace. This one here, from the barrel nut to the end of the barrel, which is right here, is 10.5 inches. Therefore, it started out life as a pistol. I know what you're gonna ask, but if that's supposed to be a pistol and you're not allowed to have a brace on it, why is there a stock on that gun? And really, you wouldn't be wrong. It's a good question to ask, but the reason why this one has a stock on it is because this is a SBR. So an SBR is a short-barreled rifle. In order to do that, you have to go through an NFA process to register the gun as a SBR. It's an ATF Form 1. Basically, you have to wait for them to approve that. Once they approve it, you can put the stock on it, and then you have to have your information engraved on the lower. The reason why I wanted the shorter barrel and wanted to be able to fold the stock is so that I could collapse this and be able to carry it in the back of my truck, or just transporting it in general would be much easier with the stock folded. So that's kind of why I did that. What you're gonna see sticking out here is a suppressor. So this is a kinetic racket 30 cal can. The reason why I wanted the suppressor was, like I said before, I wanted to be able to shoot this either in the home if there's a self-defense scenario, or if it's in my vehicle and I need to pull it out and deploy it without potentially damaging my hearing or my family's hearing. So that's why the suppressor's on there. This also is considered an NFA item. So you need to fill out an ATF form 4 and have this registered to either a person or a trust. The same thing with the SBR. Once the SBR is registered, you can choose to either register it to an individual or to a trust. So you got to pick which way, which, you know, I can kind of dive deeper into that and explain a little bit more of that at a later time. But yeah, so suppressor up front does add additional length. So you're talking about, I think it's like 5.5 to 6 inches.
Is that a lot, ladies? Or no, you need like more. That's that's nothing. It's average. Is it average?
So in total you are at, you know, 16.5 or 16 inches. However, the NFA only count the muzzle device at the end here as part of the barrel if it's pin and welded. This is not, it's direct threaded onto the barrel, can be removed. So that's why I went the route I did. This up top is an Olight Odin Mini. The reason why I liked this was this mount primarily. I wanted something a little bit smaller. Again, the idea with this is to get it compact. I like the mount, and then like I said, if I needed to, I could pull this off and, you know, use it if I needed to. So that's why I went with the Odin Mini. All right, it goes right back in the mount and then clicks in. And this locks, so you can't depress the button and take it out. But yeah, works really good. And then up here we have a IR and blue laser.
Blazer.
So this actually does have a visible light on here too. And then on the other side, it can do IR and a visible laser also. This is modeled after, if you're looking at it, a PEC 15. This is not a PEC 15 though, because as you can see up here, a PEC 15 is like, I want to say 2,500, somewhere around there. And I didn't want to spend that much money. The current way I have it set up right now is as a visible laser. So I actually have a pressure pad on the other side, and that will activate the laser. If I've got to deploy it super fast and I don't have time to turn the optic on, I can activate that visible laser, put the laser on target, center mass, and shoot. So that's why that's there. Again, this isn't a real one. This is a like airsoft version one. I'm fine with spending a couple $100s on a laser that could potentially break and whatnot versus spending a lot more. So this here is an EOTech EXPS3. Does have the night vision option on it. So theoretically, this in night vision mode and this with the IR laser, which you can't see with normal vision, you can only see an IR laser with night vision. So this with this in the IR mode would give me a way to laser target with no one else being able to see except for somebody who has night vision. I don't have night vision right now, so I tried to future-proof it basically by setting it up now. Right now, I don't use it that way, like as I mentioned, but EOTech EXPS3. This is probably one of the most expensive parts on the gun, besides the suppressor, because this is a real EOTech, and I was pretty much blown away at the cost for those. But anyways, EOTech, what you're seeing on the front there is something that's called a kill flash. So what that does is instead of having this big glass plate here, puts this in place, and this kind of just snaps in. So the idea behind that is when light is shining towards the glass, this will glint, or you will see the reflection of the light going back the other direction. So this works in daylight with sunlight, but also with any other light. So if you flash a flashlight towards it, you're gonna see the reflection off of the glass. Is slides in, clips in, and then that allows me to see through the optic, but it doesn't allow that reflection to come back through. See this here, but further back you see the honeycombs. But I will tell you from personal experience, once you get your face down and your eye looking through there, you don't even see the honeycomb anymore. Kill flash, I'd recommend them. So yeah, moving right along, back to the rest of the receiver. So down here, this is a Trigger Tech competition 2-stage trigger. Show you it. It has this one of the advertised features with this is something that Trigger Tech calls zero creep. And I'll kind of dive deeper into triggers and what each of those things are, but just kind of as a brief explanation. When you first pull the trigger, if it's a 2-stage trigger, as you start to pull it, you'll hit what's called the wall. Just slightly moves. That's the wall. Put that there. That's the wall. And then when you pull through it, that's when it will fire. What ends up happening sometimes is that you'll get to the wall and then you'll still be able to pull a little bit before it goes off. That little bit of area between when you hit the wall and when you pull the trigger all the way through, that's called creep. This has none. You can see that it will go to the wall, slightly moving to the wall, to the wall, and then boom. My other rifle, the next one I should say that I'm gonna go over, has a Geisley trigger, which I feel like is kind of one step up from this one. I'll throw in a clip of that trigger, which is also a 2-stage, but I think it's a little bit clearer where you can see stage 1 and stage 2. All right, Geisley 2-stage trigger. So we got stage 1, the wall, pull through. Oh,
God. So good.
Pull through. Oh. But the reason for that, the reason why I have that is because it makes shots, it makes accuracy a little bit easier. So you can kind of set up your shot so you use your optic, you get the target in view, you finger off the trigger till you're ready to shoot, right? But when you're ready to shoot, finger comes on, stages the trigger, so stage 1, and then when you are 100% sure you're ready to take your shot, then you pull, and then you're good. That's why I like two-stage triggers versus the single. This was my forte into 2-stage, and then the Geisley was kind of like the finale of the final boss. Down here we have a Dai Frico Kung Fu grip. You'll see this grip on every rifle I have. I'm a huge fan of it. I like the angle. It's not as canted as some of like the A2, like, you know, older stuff, but it's also not like just straight up and down either. It's got a little bit of a cant, but not too bad. 1911-ish, you could say. But it's also got that finger cut out here, so it makes it easier to get your finger underneath and get a good purchase on the rifle. So that's why I have that. But one of my favorites. So up here we have the Radian Raptor SD. So this is a ambidextrous, so you can pull from either side to charge it, and it is the SD model, which is specifically for suppressed guns. So I'll throw a photo up of what the end of this charging handle looks like. But there's some holes down there at the end that help with the gases. So when you suppress a gun, you're kind of bottlenecking the end of the barrel, and it causes a lot more gases to come back. Having those holes inside that charging handle there allows some of that gas to be vented through this channel up here, and it comes out the back as opposed to coming right back at the shooter. So it's supposed to help with that. I think it's by far one of the best charging handles I have. I don't really have a lot of other ones to compare when it comes to suppressed, but that could again be another cool video, a cool topic to kind of pursue a little bit further at a later time. Oh, this back here, which you saw at the beginning of the video, is a Law Tactical folding stock adapter. So it allows the stock to be folded like this. And I know one of the questions you're going to ask probably is, oh, well, can it fire when it's in that collapsed position? If a round is chambered, it will be able to fire that round. However, it won't be able to reciprocate the bolt inside, so it won't be able to pick up the next round. But in an emergency, if I absolutely had to, I could pull the rifle out while it's in this collapsed position, take aim, fire a shot, then flip the stock open. So, but the reason again for this is just so it's easier to stow in the vehicle as well as just to transport. So that's why that's there. We'll flip this guy over and then we'll talk about some of this. on this side, what you'll notice, like I said, I've got the pressure plate here to activate the laser. And then what you'll notice here is this doesn't look like your average bolt carrier. That's because this is a JP low mass bolt carrier. So it says LMOS. It is designed to be lighter and to be easier to reciprocate to lower felt recoil. This is a pretty fun little Magpul dust cover I have. It's got the ATF on there. I thought that was funny. In here in the buffer, there is a I swapped out the buffer spring and the buffer itself. So heavier buffer weight, better buffer spring, which also help mitigate the recoil or help reduce felt recoil. So the spring with the bolt carrier group kind of helps tie all that together. So this is one of the softest shooting rifles. It is the softest shooting rifle that I have. I think arguably this type of setup is probably the softest shooting outside of 22. This is a full size. This is a 30 caliber round though. So, but still, it's great. The one complication that I'll say with doing something like this is you need to tune it. And so in order to tune the rifle, you need to be able to either swap out and test what size bolts or what size buffers will allow the gun to properly cycle, as well as an adjustable gas block, which is right there. This gas block, I have like a long Allen wrench that I'm able to stick down this channel in here, and it allows me to adjust the gas. So it took a little bit, I'll be completely honest with you, it took a little while to be able to tune this to properly cycle. I ran into problems initially because it either wasn't cycling fully, it wasn't picking up the next round because there wasn't enough power coming back from the bolt. So that's why I lightened it up so it'll travel faster. Yeah, so that's kind of why it's set up that way. So after it's all said and done and tuned and ready to go, it's been reliable for the most part. So yeah, I would say that if you're going to embark on a 300 Blackout build, the few things I would mention is that you're going to want to make sure that you have some patience built up for the process that it's going to take to make your gun run reliably, because the box having it run reliably is really unrealistic if you are adding a suppressor or you're doing any of that, because there's just a lot of things that kind of come with it. The suppressor kind of affects your gas system a lot more than you could imagine, and everything working properly is kind of the key. This has been my workhorse, you know, because it's just, yeah, it's been great. The injection pattern is perfect. It works exactly the way it's supposed to. The only drawback I would say to 300 Blackout, or the only reason why I would possibly rethink this build, would be 300 Blackout and running it suppressed. It gets really, really dirty. I'll throw some photos up so you can see kind of what the receiver looks like after a few range days versus after it's cleaned. There's this unburnt powder that gets everywhere inside, and it looks like black, like Tahitian sand almost. Yeah, I'd say getting to a point where if it's going to be run a lot, you will run into reliability problems. That's why this is designed for like an emergency. I need to grab it and I need to put someone down. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of the build. So with that, in closing, thanks for watching build breakdown number 1. I think the next one that I'm going to do is going to be on my AR-10 build. Look forward for that one, or look forward to, or look for that one. I'm new to this, so it's gonna take me a while to get a good flow down. So giggity.
Oh, giggity. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
So I didn't say that because of what I said. It's because anyways, but yeah, so there's the rifle.